Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and Daredevil issue number 25. This was cool, man. We actually got to see the Supreme Court. Now, I'm just going to state right off, the art, not the biggest fan of the art in this comic, which is a shame because the writing is unbelievable. But nonetheless, I think that there were a couple things that were drawn pretty well here. Starting off with the Supreme Court, that was the first thing that actually caught my eye. It was actually drawn pretty nice, all intents considered. But more than that, there was the verbal sparring part. There was the part where Daredevil was Matt Murdoch was addressing the Supreme Court, and all of a sudden one of them threw a gavel in his face, and then they all jumped up on the bench and started countering him with certain things, and then punching him in the face and kicking him. And I was like, are they under the control of somebody? What's going on here? And then suddenly I realized that what it was is this was just the verbal sparring, and this is the way that Daredevil sees it. This is the way that Daredevil has to, quote, air quotes now, see any kind of a lawyer case where there's a parlay, just words going back and forth. This is how he has to see it because he's a strategizer, not just in the boxing ring, not just out on the streets, but in the court cases also. And I genuinely loved the concept here. I loved the way that they visually described how he battles in the court. It was a thing of perfection. So yeah, I'm just going to leave the art alone in that regard. The case was won. And it's funny because they mentioned, I don't know why Daredevil says to Foggy, I don't know why I'm doing this in the Supreme Court. I threw the case in the appellate. You know what I'm saying? Prior to the reason why I came here is because I lost the appellate, but I threw that one. So it's like, well, why did you throw that then? And my opinion on it was, if it gets passed in the state of New York, then in the state of New York, it's there, but for everything else, it's just a precedent. And it doesn't have to be followed. You don't have to follow a precedent. Any little change in a case, you could make an entirely new precedent and then argue both. If there's just the slightest little difference that a lawyer can, like, for instance, legal over here, if anybody can actually make something, some kind of a counterpoint, and the slightest differentiation can cause both cases to now be suspect, in the sense that now a standard has to be manufactured at the Supreme Court. And if Matt's not involved in that, well, that kind of sucks. So it's actually good, in my opinion, it's good because now it's not a precedent at this point. Now it's the law. There's an actual rule here that has to be followed. So to me, I don't see why that isn't what was mentioned, as opposed to, I don't know. But his reasons are what they are. Read the book if you're interested in his exact reasons. He also switches back to the red costume now instead of the black one. So, good thing, bad thing, I actually like the black one. But of course, nostalgia, you're going to like the red one too. I don't know. Honestly, I think I would have liked to see the black one stick around for a while, but that's just me. We're going to start a new arc in the next issue, and it's going to be called The Land of the Blind. Apparently, Wilson Fisk has a Plan C. Tombstone went rogue, so he was the Plan B with a rocket launcher. He did not activate himself, so there's going to be a Plan C now, and let's see how that gets implemented, what exactly it's going to be, and let's see if somebody ends up in the bag, so to speak. Anyway, I'm giving this comic a B+. This was a great read. I like the idea that, again, there was technically, officially no combat in this, but there was also the 9 members of the Supreme Court going after and beating the heck out of Matt Murdoch, so that was fun. He got in a couple of good punches, but really great issue. Genuinely enjoyed this. Guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.